Alban Kingsford Bagbin to adjourn proceeding. Speaking to the press after the adjournment, Minority Leader Dr. Keziwa Forson expressed disappointment of the Finance Minister's inability to fulfill this crucial mandate.
7th of January 2025, the Vice President can present to this House expenditure in advance of appropriation anytime after swearing in on the 7th of January 2025. And this House will be properly constituted to expedite the approval of the same expenditure in advance of appropriation. While we are very disappointed about this development, we want to caution the outgoing Akufo-Addo government that they will be responsible for all unmet commitment and obligation of state from the 1st of January to the 7th of January 2025. Let me, on this note, thank all of you in advance of appropriation. In the spirit of good transition, it is expected that the outgoing president, acting pursuant to Article 180 of the Constitution, would have acted in good faith and bring before this Parliament a proposal for expenditure to cater for the first quarter of the year 2025. This was very important because the Appropriation Act for 2025 will come into force on will not come into force on 1st of January 2025. Sadly, President.
Let's still stay in Parliament. In the Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin attributed the inability of the Finance Minister to present the 2025 mini-budget to what he deems as the lawlessness of the minority group. He, however, assured that the expenditure in advance of the appropriation will be laid by the Finance Minister when the House resumes on January 2, 2024.
Anti-corruption drive. And this statement lists the following members, one of whom is a member of Parliament. Honorable Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa as chairman, Honorable Daniel Domelovo, former Auditor General, COP retired Nathaniel Kofi Boate, Mr. Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner, Mr. Raymond Archer, investigative journalist. And the mandate given, as per what the Mr. Kwacho Fosu is saying, is that these individuals are supposed to gather information on supposed suspected acts of corruption. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to this, there is lawlessness taking place in our country. People are entering homes and harassing people. Mr. Speaker, what happened on the 7th of December was not a coup d'etat. It wasn't a revolution.
Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me finish. I've sought your leave. Mr. Speaker, I've sought your leave. It was an election that you have won. The lawlessness must cease. No,
Leader,
let me finish.
I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Very well.
But let me finish with the motion. There's a motion.
Very well.
There's
this
a motion.
is a country of law. We will not allow and entertain this.
Leader, there is a motion on the floor. Let me finish with the motion.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Then you can come back for that necessary.
Very well. I agree. No
I thought we were going to contribute to the motion.
No.
That
I
is
said
why
I'm seeking your leave.
Then you let's finish.
Yeah.
Leader,
Speaker.
kindly allow me to finish with the motion.
The motion. Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Then you can come back for that necessary.
Very well. I agree.
I thought we were going to contribute to the motion. That
I
is
said
why
I'm seeking your leave.
Then you let's finish.
Yeah.
Leader, kindly allow me to finish with the motion. Then I'll give you the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, agree. We will hold your feet to the fire. We will not allow lawlessness.
Honorable Leader.
That is so. It's okay. Towards President-elect's anti-corruption drive. And this statement lists the following members, one of whom is a member.
So that was the majority leader. Yesterday also we brought you reports expecting the finance minister to appear before parliament to give the mini budget, but unfortunately he couldn't appear. Today also we were told he will be appearing before parliament, but it looks as though he's not willing to appear before parliament, and the minority has raised issues and concern with regards to that. But we also want to get the implications of not appearing before the House today, and we're trying so hard to engage an economist on this to also understand the implications of not and as well as the legal issues or repercussions in this case, because if indeed the minister does not appear, of course, the speaker has adjourned House to 2nd of next year, 2025, which is quite a long period, and looks like a lot would have to go into that. But let's see how it goes. Unfortunately, also, the majority has been defending, saying that when they were proposing for debate on such issues, the minority now were bent on fighting on who is or wants to be the majority and the minority in caucus, and that has led to this drama we're witnessing. But as I said earlier, we want to get into the real nitty-gritty of this, engage experts, also the legal aspect of it, and my producers are really trying hard to get some experts for us to speak with, but we're trying so hard once again to let you know exactly what transpired in Parliament today. Unfortunately, again, the Finance Minister, Mohammed Amin Adam, did not appear before the court. Now, in all of this, what does it mean in terms of the interpretation, in the delay of this contest, in terms of the Ghana institutional law, and also the legal repercussions that could also arise from not representing the budget on time? If it means that government would have to now think about what to do next year without having to approve, a budget, at the close of Parliament, it means that there could be legal and also financial repercussions of that. The broader consultation now would also have to be how Ghana's physical, health will feel in the international front in terms of not also aligning with certain conditions and also accepting certain budget to be approved in the House of Parliament. Well, we're trying so hard once again to get economist Dr. Patrick, or Professor, I beg your pardon, Patrick Esumim on the back of this. But as and when we do get him, we'll try to have a conversation on the back of that. But I'm told we do have lawyer. We have been joined by the former director of the Ghana School of Law, lawyer Ansam Asare. Lawyer, good evening.
Good evening.
So in this case, how do you interpret the delay in the context of Ghana's constitutional framework with regards to the legal repercussions and what it could arise from not presenting the budget on time? The minister was expected to appear before Parliament yesterday. He failed to appear. We were told that he will appear before Parliament today. Unfortunately, because he didn't appear, the Speaker of Parliament would have to adjourn the House again to 2nd of January 2025. What does this mean?
Good evening to our esteemed listeners. It means, what it means. He didn't come. He didn't appear. But we should situate the discussion, in the context of, what has happened since October or so. We all know, the brouhaha that has been, for some time now. And I should think that the conduct of the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Minister of Finance, is one of irresponsibility. He's just demonstrating that he's not responsible, and he will pay for it. Next time that he decides to contest, for his constituents. His constituents should take note of what is going on and punish him. In future, but for now, he can take refuge, under the immunity bestowed on MPs. Then, if you look at Article 115, it is freedom of speech, and freedom of speech implies, that he can either appear in Parliament and say nothing or do nothing, or he cannot appear at all. You look at Article 121, he can also seek refuge to the Rwanda. So as far as his conduct is concerned, it is within what is going on between the so-called majority caucus and the minority caucus. I don't think that is something that we should fret over. They are just showing their irresponsible behavior. I don't think that he can be threatened with court sanctions, or they can take him to court and force him to do what he doesn't want to do. Mind you, it is the responsibility of the president. It is the president. So if his finance minister is not doing that, nothing stops the president from appointing. And he did it before. When Ken Ofori-Atta traveled, he got Che Mensah Bonsu to act in his stead. Why is he, not, acting in the same, vein? So I will leave, the finance minister. He's still licking his wounds. He has been battered. He was shattered, brutally battered at the elections, and he's licking his wounds, and you want him to come and present this thing. But you see, this shows the caliber of people, who are vying for positions. If a minister of finance can do this, to the whole nation, then it leaves, much. It doesn't speak well of him.
Lawyer, I mean, you have talked about the minister being irresponsible, but then again, the majority leader, Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has also attributed all of this brouhaha, saying that it's as a result of the lawlessness of the minority in parliament. In all of this, given that the presentation of the mini budget is a constitutional requirement, what does the adjournment of parliament also suggest about the legislative body and the capacity to also hold executive accountable? Let
Afenyo-Markin and his honorables take the matter to Supreme Court. Why are they not going to the Supreme Court this time around? Let them take the matter to the Supreme Court and let the Supreme Court interpret, the behavior of the finance minister, because it provokes a question of interpretation. Let them go to the Supreme Court for interpretation. Next time around, we should know that it is not everything, that has to go to the Supreme Court. So this is another instance, of the constitutional lawlessness, that I talked about in October last year. The honorable majority leader is making ugly noises. They were threatening the finance minister. The minority leader said he was reminding the finance minister of the consequences of his failure to present the budget. They have laid their bed. Let them lie in it. It is, it shows the irresponsible behavior of our young MPs. Shows how irresponsible they are. If they were responsible, they wouldn't behave the way they are behaving. Let the whole nation tell them that what they are doing, we are paying them, to discharge their constitutional obligations. And if this is what they think we deserve, it's on to them. But I should think that the president, the buck stops on the desk of the president. He must, accept full responsibility, take total responsibility, for, his incompetence and ineptitude. This is what he's showing now. He has no control over his, hiring ministers. If he had, he would have acted swiftly, by moving to curb the excesses of his finance minister. Failure to do that shows, the level of the president's own incompetence, which for for the past at least 3 years, he has exhibited this. He's manifested in, several ways, and nobody has said anything. So all of us must, accept responsibility, for the irresponsible behavior of our MPs. I'm not going to, single anyone, out of this mess. All of them must be accountable to us. Next time, they should know. They should know that there is a lesson to the incoming MPs. And each time we bring them to Parliament, if they fail us, we should not wait, until the fourth year before we kick them out. You see, we should hold them accountable. This is one instance. The whole finance minister, couldn't be bothered, of what happens, to workers. What happens to their, salaries and wages between January 2025 and March 2025. And the president is doing nothing about it. He has all the power, to correct, and bring his, every minister to book. He's not doing it. Nobody should blame the finance, blame the president. The buck stops, on his desk. He is the person to do it. He only, recommends from time to time who shall do it. That's my take on the issues.
I just want to also engage you on another legal aspect of, the Constitution with regards to what happened today in the High Court, where, the High Court has ordered the Electoral Commission to still proceed to recollate the announcement of the results. But before I engage you on that, let me just also let my viewers know what transpired in court. But lawyer, kindly hold on for me. I will get back to you in just a minute. So the High Court has ordered an Electoral Commission (EC) to recollate and announce the result for the Ablekuma North and Nsawam Adwejiri constituencies, nullifying earlier announcement. A directive follows a judicial review initiated by 6 dissatisfied New Patriotic Party NPP parliamentary candidates who sought a mandamus order compelling the EC to recollate and announce the election results. They also requested a directive for Inspector General of Police (IGP) to provide adequate security at Collation Center to enable the EC to carry out its constitutional duties without interference. The candidates who contested in Tema Central, Nsawam Adwejiri, Okaikwe Central, Techiman South, Ablekuma North, and Ahafo North highlighted irregularities in the results collation process and subsequent announcement of winners. Now, the National Democratic Congress also attempted to join the case by filing a motion for join them, but the court dismissed the motion, ruling that the NDC lacked sufficient grounds for inclusion. Lawyer, since last week, but I mean, let me just take your take on this first.
I think EC. You see, the EC is the constitutional, body responsible, for the conduct of elections. And in the considered view of the EC, some deficiencies, occurred during the elections. Now, with regard to collation and recollation, in 2024, the Honorable Chairperson of the EC did indicate that once the returning officer, certifies the result at the constituency level is final. I disagreed, with that view then, because whether, anything is final or not should rest with the courts, with the High Court. The last say rests with the High Court. Now, on this occasion, there were, a lot of pink sheets flying, fake ones flying here and there. I would have thought that, and I'll still say that, since the ballot papers, got caught in that controversial web, of they mixed up with fake, fake pink sheets. It raised issues, of fraud, and as we know, fraud, change everything. So once anything is procured by fraud, that act, to that extent, should be declared null and void. Now, we haven't had a situation where, our EC has declared, results of constituencies null and void on the ground merely of, a mixture of fake ones and genuine ones. So this perhaps may be the first time the EC is sitting up to its constitutional, responsibility. What the EC is suggesting is that because there were deficiencies, because declarations were made, at the behest or at gunpoint or threat and other coercive activities, you know, the announcement, the declaration was made under duress. And if so, it follows, you know, that it should be declared null and void, or that they should recount or recollate. So that is, you know, that was a step in the right direction. And if anybody was aggrieved, then that aggrieved person is required by law to go to, you know, to the High Court. And the EC went to the High Court. You know, they've gotten what, you know, they reasonably expected. On the part of the NDC, the judge was writing, you know, saying that they didn't have, you know, sufficient interest in the matter, and therefore, you know, he will not join them. So if they have been joined, he disjoined them. And I think that the verdict of the High Court, you know, on this occasion is consistent, you know, with the tenets of rule of law. I wouldn't fault it, and I think we should proceed with that, you know, and make sure that come January 2nd, when, you know, the outgoing parliament will resume, you know, we'll be ready, you know, with the list of incoming MPs, so that we don't have to waste our scarce resources, you know, on controversial matters. This is something straightforward that can be done, and the EC has done it. You know, let us put the matter to rest at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, the executives of the party also have been speaking, and just before we came on air, the President-elect John Mahama has been speaking also. But I would want to also take your opinion on that. But just kindly hold on for me, and maybe, I mean, all the election-related stories, we'd want to take your opinion, because you are an astute lawyer, and your opinion is needed in this conversation. So before we came on air, the President-elect John Dramani Mahama has also urged the Electoral Commission (EC) to demonstrate fairness and also consistency, integrity in its decision, particularly concerning the management of disputed parliamentary results. His comment also follows the EC's announcement that it would not oppose the declaration of parliamentary results in 9 constituencies, stating that some of the declarations were made under duress. The affected constituency include Ablekumo North and Sawam Adwedri, Techiman South, and Domit Kwabenya, among others. Mr. Mahama criticized what he described as the EC's selective application of rules, arguing that similar cases have been handled differently in the past. He also cited the example of Techiman South during the 2020 general election, where the EC declared the parliamentary results despite reported irregularities and objection from stakeholders.
Issues arising from the election, as you are aware, 9 constituencies are in dispute, and we think that the Electoral Commission should act in a principled manner. You cannot change the rules when it suits you and apply different rules when different circumstances exist. There was a particular case in 2020, and the Electoral Commission came out clearly that if a declaration had been made, it was not the duty of the Electoral Commission to adjudicate it. The courts were the right place to go. And so if a declaration has been made, it doesn't matter under what circumstance. They're saying that somewhere under duress. In the case of Techiman South, it was under duress. There were soldiers in the collation room. There was chaos in the collation room when the declaration was made. And the same arguments were passed that, you know, there should be a recollation. And the Electoral Commission said, no, there can't be any recollation once a declaration has been made. In the same circumstances, declarations have been made. If people have a grievance, they must go to the courts and redress those grievances there. We don't think that the goalpost should be shifted depending on who is at the other end of the stick. There's one particular case in which there was no declaration. We can understand that. And so the Electoral Commission has to make a determination what happens. Is there going to be a rerun? How are they going to be able to collate those results? And so we think that there must be fairness and justice in everything that we do. And so that's a concern we have, that those...
Meanwhile, Godwin Ejiji Temaklo, a member of the National Democratic Congress legal team, has expressed his disappointment with the High Court's ruling overthrowing the injunction by the NDC to stop the EC in recollating results of the Tema Central, Okankwe Central, and others, warning that there could be serious consequences ahead.
From the EC, or a deposition by the returning officers in their respective places that the declaration that they made was fraudulent, but they just say it was fraudulent. Where he got the evidence of fraud, I don't know. Because my understanding is that at least somebody must come to court, put a rival evidence of fraud before you, or duress, and prove it. This morning, the EC only came and said on point of law. In fact, the Electoral Commission's own lawyer never talked about the videos. But the court said those elections are tainted with fraud. How he came to the conclusion that there was fraud, I don't know.
What is the next line of action? What remedies are you going to seek forward going forward?
No, we'll keep that to us.
Are you going to now, the process is going to happen, are you going to get ready for it?
I have 5 MPs, all of them here, duly declared by the Electoral Commission.
You take part in the recollation.
Jemensa sits in her office and says she had invalidated it. Do you know the danger if we allow this absurdity to continue? Tomorrow, a president that has been declared winner, a deputy chairperson can sit somewhere and say, no, I don't agree. Any MP, and remember, all the 5 MPs have been declared for NDC. The same Electoral Commission has not spoken about Damango because that was declared for the MPP. So clearly, this commission is up to an agenda. Let's see. You can have an order, but you can't enforce it. That's also true. Is that not the case?
Is that to say you participate in it?
Is
that to say that you don't partake in the collation exercise?
What collation?
The orders by the court.
No, as for the courts or the sheriffs and the same Electoral Commission has not spoken about Damango.
That was Eddie Temaklo earlier in court this afternoon. But still on matters of election, the National Election Security Task Force has confirmed the deployment of military personnel to assist the police in maintaining security at the collation centers at the Electoral Commission EC prepare to also resume the collation of results for the outstanding constituencies from December 7 election. The move comes in response to criticisms from the ECs, which accused the task force of failing to provide adequate security during the earlier stages of the collation process. This, the EC noted, that has resulted in the abrupt suspension of the exercise. Addressing the media on Friday, December 20, the Director of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service and spokesperson for the Election Security Task Force, ACP Grace Ansa Akrofi, emphasized the importance of maintaining order at the collation center.
So this afternoon we've invited you to brief you on security arrangements for the collation of outstanding constituencies. There will be a joint police and military deployment for the exercise. We wish to caution the public that non-accredited persons will not be permitted at the centers. Also, the task force would like to urge the political parties to refrain from inciting their supporters to mass up at the collation centers to disrupt the process. We wish to state that throughout the election period, including this post-election phase, the National Election Security Task Force has put Ghana first.
Let's move to Frontier Court now before we engage lawyers still on the back of election. The lawyer for Haruna Apau Redu, the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for Frontier Court North, has filed a motion at the Koforidua High Court seeking to nullify the Electoral Commission's redeclaration of the constituency's elections results. The motion filed by Isaac Labi Esquire calls for judicial review in the nature of statutory to quash the purported redeclaration of the result as announced by the Deputy Returning Officer of the EC at Tesano Okra on December 12, 2024.
Okay, we just returned from the High Court Koforidua. We have proceeded to file a judicial review application in the nature of certiorari and prohibition. These are legal terms, but basically what we are asking the court to do is that the so-called redeclaration that the Electoral Commission claims it has done at Tesano, it is illegal. It is a nullity in law. They have no legal basis to do that. What you did is not in accordance with law. And so we are seeking the court's powers. It is the supervisory powers of the court. To quash it is simply to cancel it. I think when I say that, you will understand. To cancel it so that it won't exist anymore to be used by any person who wants to do mischief. So that's what we want to do. Because at this stage, you know, any officer within the Electoral Commission can proceed and say that, oh, we have done redeclaration. And so they are now going to prepare certificate.
Let's go back to the conversation with lawyer Ansah Asare. Lawyer, once again, we're glad that you've been on the line for us. Tell us, why did the High Court reject the NDC's motion for rejoinder? Was the court correct in determining what the NDC did or not have sufficient grounds to conclude in this case?
Thank you. Before I answer that, let me just make this suggestion to His Excellency, the President-elect. DM. As the father of the nation now, I would humbly advise that he stays out of this controversy. He's my father figure, and it is, you know, we are looking up to him and the outgoing president to help the EC, you know, come out of this impasse. Now, if he takes an entrenched stand, it will encourage, you know, continuity, and that is not going to augur well for all of us. So my humble plea to him, you know, is to take a back seat, you know, and let the court, because now, you know, he looms powers over, you know, all of us. Now, to answer your question, you see, if the judge says that the NDC's application didn't. Hello?
Yeah, lawyer, proceed.
Was not sufficiently grounded. I think that what perhaps he meant, you know, was that the reasons were not good enough, and it made the application, you know, seem frivolous, vexatious, and without merit, and accordingly dismissed, you know, same. But I heard one of them say that they will have to go to court, you know, for the person alleging fraud to prove it. That is the law. The law is that he who alleges must prove. And therefore, if a party, you know, is alleging intrusion of fraud or fraudulent element, then it is up to that party. But we all heard on air, we all saw, you know, pink sheets, you know, pink sheets, you know, you know, we saw police. There was, in Sudan, for instance, there was an altercation involving a civilian and 2 military officers, you know, overdone. You know, we saw, you know, a head shooting and all that. So we need not go to court to prove this one by one. Enough is enough. We also want to be, you know, professionally and intellectually dishonest, you know, to say that we didn't see these things or didn't hear them. So most of the electoral disputes are resolved, you know, based upon affidavit evidence. And if, you know, there's sufficient, you know, factual matrix in the affidavit, and the judge relies on the affidavit to, you know, return findings and his verdict, we should accept it. Why do we have to go through the, you know, rigmarole of what, you know, Nana Addo and John Mahama, you know, went through in the Supreme Court and waste the nation's scarce resources and time when this thing can be resolved, you know, in a twinkle of an eye?
Well,
with the High Court judge
I mean,
done.
the NDC then would have to reference you to previous precedent that happened in 2020.
The High Court, we cannot blow, you know, hot and cold. I think that the last time they approbated and reprobated against the NC, we all joined in the chorus and hallelujah and said, you know, the Supreme Court, the majority of the justices of the Supreme Court, you know, got it all wrong. Now, you know, they are going the other way. I don't think that it is, you know, a good development for our, you know, democracy. We should accept the verdict of the High Court. The High Court says that there's sufficient evidence in the application, to allow the EC to collect and recollect. Now, let us, remind ourselves that even if the EC, made that the EC chair, the EC chairperson made a certain declaration or statement in 2020, the finality of that statement rests with the court. That is the High Court. So if the thing is, devoid of legality, and the EC chairperson has rushed to court to say, please, this is the problem confronting us. We have come, help us, resolve this matter. And in the considered view of the High Court judge, there's sufficient merit in the application and it has been granted. Let us accept that and move on as a nation. We cannot, from June last year, we've wasted, precious little, time and scarce resources in trying, to solve something that, could have been done, within a matter of, say, days or weeks. Now, from June to December, 6 months of precious little time wasted, on trifles. We are trivializing our democracy. This is not the way, that we should be developing our democracy. We've come out of an election, and my good friends in the NDC, you have had enough. Yahweh, we have acknowledged the fact that Yahweh, the 9 states, wouldn't make any difference. Please allow the courts, to have the most say in these matters and let us move on. If you add the 9 to your 188, it won't change the status quo. If the 9 is added to whatever we got, it won't change the status quo. You are super majority. Accept that. And we are, super minority. We will accept that and then we move on. Please. In the interest of Mother Ghana.
Lawyer, thank you so much for your time. But before I let you go, finally, in the case where the NDC says they are still not satisfied with this ruling from the High Court, what is the alternative in this?
Well, I think they should accept it. They may not be satisfied, but in the interest of the principle that litigation should come to an end, they should accept it. Interest, res, obligae, ut, in finis, litium. You see? Interest, res, obligae, ut, state, finis, litium is the principle. Litigation must come to an end. It is in the interest of the Republic of Ghana that these electoral litigations must come to an end. It is, a matter of public policy that we bring this saga to an end. It is known as the principle of interest re publicae. And both the NDC and the NPP lawyers know this. So let us play with this public policy principle in the interest of the whole nation. Please.
Okay.
Please.
Lawyer, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, we want to expound more on this conversation, but this is all time would allow. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We have been speaking with Dr. Lawyer Kwaku Ansah-Sari. He is the former director of the Ghana School of Law. Doc, once again, thank you so much for your time. Let's bring you some business updates after this. Do stay. And in business, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has flagged 2024 as a challenging financial year for the Ghana Cocoa Board, despite some gains in 2023. The IMF reports that Cocoa Board has struggled to capitalize on record high global cocoa prices due to low and weak production levels during the 2023-2024 cocoa season. This has hindered Cocoa Board's ability to meet commitment under existing forward sales contracts. Now, data from the Ghana Statistical Service highlights the cocoa sector's dire state with a sharp 26% decline in output for Q3 of 2024, marking the 5th consecutive quarter of contraction. And in more business, let's do once again, the minister also stated that further Ghana's debt stock will come down after all debt restructuring has been finalized, but believes that just bringing it down should not be focused, but rather behavioral improvement. He made this statement earlier on the back of Ghana's debt stock, which sits at 742 Ghana cedis.
We have finalized all the debt restructuring. At the moment, those numbers have not been applied yet. So when we finish, and all the savings from the various, debt savings that we've been talking about, it will come down. But I don't think just bringing it down should be our focus. Making sure that the debt, we don't go back there. Because you can bring it down. I mean, just like anybody, you can bring your debt levels down. But if your behavior that makes you accumulate the debt, if that part doesn't improve, you will get back there again. And I think that's where we should focus on. This is where the budget balance is very important. The difference between how much revenue government is collecting and how much it is spending. So I think that's where we should keep our eye on. Because as for the reduction, it is a one-time event. The accumulation process is where you have to put our attention. And I think making sure that year on year, government is living within its means. And that, what it collects is being used for the intended purposes. And we are making government is living within its means. And that, what it collects is being used for the intended purposes. And we are making the most from government expenditure. I think that's where the key is. When we have finalized all the debt restructuring. At the moment, those numbers have not been applied yet. So when we finish.
And we have to apologize for that earlier comment. That was economist Patrick Isume, not the finance minister. We'll bring you that back in subsequent bulletin. But away from that, let's settle more on some local stories, but straight to Parliament. And Mr. Clement Akolo has stated that if Afenyo Markin continues as minority leader in the 9th Parliament, he should avoid being overly boisterous and insisted to focus on holding the majority accountable.
Ways of dealing with leadership, and it is not just being over boisterous, being just obstructionist in Parliament, but rather how can you be cooperative, how can you gather your people or rally your people around a vision to hold government accountable, a vision to ensure that your side of the issue is actually brought out clearly with a particular set of communications, and not to just be combative, as I heard Honorable Joseph Osei-Wusu say that.
Let's now wind down to some festive celebration. And as Christmas Day approaches with just a few days, market women at the Accra Central have called on the President-elect John Dramani Mahama to institute measures that can drastically control the fall of the city till business can also pick up.
And political parties and members of parliament now know where they stand. It's time again to celebrate the festive season, and we are here at Accra Central, that's the Accra Metropolitan Assembly here at Tubu, where we are here engaging market women and traders on how the festive season is going. It's time for Christmas. We'll find out from market women how the atmosphere is and what they have to say. Are people buying? As the general election that took place some few weeks ago had a toll on the Christmas, let's find out from what the market women have to say.
According to them, they are hoping that the president-elect will fulfill his promises, and also in the appointment of the Accra mayor, they are urging the president to be considerate and choose the rightful person so that the activities will not be a threat, as they are always being sent parking by duty bearers not to sell on the pavement along the streets of Accra. Engaging these businesswomen, they indicated that business is low. Although a lot of people are in town, sales are not that high.
So bit no opinion my own tobia. Then you never get to us near solo. And your public show, one thing you got is you better now. I want to see no matter my year, no matter my year. So I buy my to a you know, you know your noise of a band, you had it show. I buy name and casta.
Away from that, let's do issues relating with our health. And as part of Glyco General Insurance Limited's corporate social responsibility to show love in celebrating of the festive season and to caution Ghanaians of the shocks, it has supported the Tema General Hospital with 5 suction machines and paid for medical bills of about 31 patients and admission.
Machines are to serve the maternity, accident, medical, surgery, and the children's ward in times of emergency. Speaking to the media, the managing director of Glyco Insurance Limited, Andrew Champonche Esquire, revealed that they are also considering building the accident theatre for the hospital. This gesture was not shown to only the Tema Hospital, students of the Kropon School for the Blind, and the Okofanochi Hospital in the Ashanti region all received donations to support patients as part of its yearly activities for its operation. The medical superintendent of the Tema General Hospital, Dr. Richard Anthony, addressing the media, expresses gratitude for the donation and the presentation of the amount.
I can see some items for donation out there. If I'm right, I can see some suction machines. And I'm also aware that you have come to put a smile on the faces of patients across the various wards, from the maternity ward to children's accident center, medical surgery, to pay the medical bills of some clients who for one reason or the other and unable to pay their bills outside the National Health Insurance tariff. So then we are most grateful. There's a song, it's even from the Bible, which says, "In whatever you do to the least of my brothers, you do it unto me." In the mood of the season, when I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. And when I couldn't pay my medical bills, you were ready at hand to assist me pay, to be able to go home, to celebrate the festive season ahead of us. It's good to give cheerfully. I can see smiles on your faces.
That's right.
Not only this, I think
Managing Director of Glyco Insurance Limited, Andrew Champonche Esquire, further assured their commitment to saving lives in our hospitals and enhancing quality healthcare delivery.
Glyco General, we deal with the non-life part of the business. Saving lives is paramount, and indeed if the suction machines would make a real impact when it comes to emergency response, then indeed we bring 5 suction machines. The theatre, which is under development, is yet to be completed, and you made a passionate plea. We endorsed it. We went back and engaged our board, and as we said, we will come back. And so we have also made some arrangements and provision to come back and come back strong. We have agreed and taken the mantle that the accident center we will support to complete. The formal proper name for it is the accident theater. The theater. We've made some good budget available to support that as well in 2025.
Festive season, make sure to show love to somebody. You absolutely would have to give something to somebody. But away from that, let's go straight to the eastern region. The Achim Begro, representing the Benkum division of the Achim Buakwa traditional area, has finally gotten a new chief after 5 to 6 years without a chief. The newly installed Begrohene Dasebre Ewa in team has been charged by Ochehene Osajefo Mortial Ferrepeni to eschew arrogance, self-pride and disobedience to succeed as a chief. Arkham said the fire service is also promoting to use simple extinguishers in this community. Let's take a bite of what transpired earlier.
Has struggled to achieve a desired development due to the absence of a chief. Several efforts to install a chief had proved futile due to dispute among the royal gate as to who was fit to become the Begrohene. However, after talks, the family settled on a US-based Metropolitan Police officer, Kwejo Intim Danso, who has been installed as the Begrohene amidst a welcoming and joyous atmosphere. Ochehene Amwete Oforipenyin advised the new Begrohene to rule the people with humility and respect, listen to advice, but not act on every piece of advice given by those around him. He also asked him to live by the oath and not disappoint the people of Begro and the Ochiman in general.
What is say apataya? Then soon, and we I mean, Casse, Sammy, Cassabi and Fata, no Penibeka throwing yet. Penibeka Sabia. Yadian sent Fatalia Bra and said, whoa, near to me, Puro, Canada, and the Queen. What's your foot? Your foot in the
However, from that, let's bring you some sports news. In sports, another big weekend in the Premier League awaits, starting with the big fixtures involving giant Hearts of Oak and Brecum Chelsea scheduled to take place in the capital on Friday, December 20, 2024. The Phobians will be eager to be quick turn around the rivals Asante Kotoko when they are certain to entertain the Chelsea at the University of Ghana Stadium on March Day 14 of the Premier League. Now, kickoff of 7 p.m. local time. There are 6 fixtures on Saturday, December 21, 1 Premier League match on Monday, December 23, 2024, and 1 postponed game fixed for January 1, 2025. Dreams FC hosts Asante Kotoko in an epic clash at the Tuba AstroTurf, and Nations FC turn to the Dr. Kwame Che Sports Complex to face off against Batsmet Club Legon Cities. And inform Bechem United entertained defending champion FC Samatex in 1996 at the Nana Jiabwo Park, while league leader Hearts of Lions return to Bando Stadium to battle New Boys Basake Holy Stars. Instructorman FC traveled to Bibiani to battle Gold Stars FC, seeking to put their managerial issues behind following the resignation of the club's general manager. Gold Stars will fancy their chances against their opponent at the Dance Park, and Vision FC makes the long journey to Wenchi to face off against Young Apostles. On Monday, Aduana FC entertains Accra Lions at the Na Ajiman Bedu. The first pack in Doma Hinkro, and Mediama SC's home match against Karela United has also been postponed to January 1, 2025. Now to some national team news. Blacks Galaxies have, head coach Max United Didi Druman has announced his final 26-man squad to face Nigerian B in the upcoming 2025 China qualifiers. Now the 2-leg tie will take place in Accra in Nigeria. So let's take a look at the squad as you see on your screen. So Benjamin Asari, it's from Hearts of Oak, Kofi Mensah, also from Nations FC, Apia Kubi, also from Mediama, and also we do have Amankosa Steven, Suleiman Fatau, Ebenezer Aban, Nuruddin Abdullah from Mediama SC, Eric Dansu, Dreams FC, Hafiz Ibrahim from Atram de Visa, and also Kusi Asante from Vision FC, Manuel Mante from Mediama SC, Emmanuel Entry from Asante Kotoko, Mustafa Yakubu Hearts of Lions FC, Derek Fojo Mediama FC, Shawate Faisal Nations FC, Rahman Mohammed Instructorman FC, Razak Simpson Nations FC, Samuel Tete FC Samates, Albert Amwa Asante Kotoko SC, Yakubu Isaiah Basake Holy Stars FC, Jerry Efiye. We also have Aqua Francis from Bichim United, Ali Muhammad, Abdul Karim, and Isaac Afo of FC Samatex. Away from sports, we're back with some international updates. Do stay. Rwanda has officially declared the end of its first ever Marburg virus disease outbreak after 42 consecutive days with no new cases. Following the recovery of the last confirmed patient on November 7, 2024, the outbreak, which began on September 27, 2024, recorded 66 confirmed cases and 15 deaths, with nearly 80 of infections affecting health workers. Let's wrap up the bulletin with some international entertainment updates. Entertainment, the Kumawood industry is grieving following the death of actor Bright Owusu, popularly known as C. Confion, who passed away on December 20, 2024 after a battle with a critical illness. Two Kumawood actors, including Dr. Lakim, Chichuku, Vivian Jill, Boyosi, Oboisiki, and 3940, visited the family home to console the loved ones.